Dr. Mensah, welcome to our channel. How are you doing today?
I'm very well. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Can you kindly introduce yourself to my audience?
Well, my name is Dr. Seth Omari Mensa. I'm a Ghanaian. I studied in Ukraine at National Medical University for 6 years. Then from there, I went to Tanzania for my internship. I didn't, go to Ghana like how my colleagues, they do. I went to Tanzania for 1 year because it's a 1 year internship, unlike other countries that you have to do internship for 2 years. Then from there, I moved back to the UK to complete my necessary things to do, like the PLABs. Then I started working.
Why did you choose to go to Tanzania after your medical school?
Well, I did my own research. I explored a lot of countries like UAE, Dubai. I also explored Malta. UAE is 1 year, Malta is 1 year. I wanted a short internship because the GMC requires a minimum internship of 1 year for you to get your full license, to put it this way. So Tanzania is a very cool country from what I researched. It's quite affordable there, even though working as a foreign foreign intern doctor, you don't get paid. But in my hospital, I got paid for my on-call shifts. That was the on-call allowance, which was it wasn't that bad, but it was okay to buy food here and there. I think I didn't consider going to Ghana because looking at my seniors, it took them 3 years to be able to complete their housemanship because they have to study for the Ghana exams, which takes quite a long time because you need to go in for one and start your housemanship, and it took a while for them to be posted to start their housemanship. So yeah.
So what were the requirements to have the internship in Tanzania?
Okay, great. That's a very good question to ask. The requirement is you need to verify your document. So for me, for instance, I had to verify my BEC, WASI, my degree. I had to, upload my birth certificate, my passport, and other documents that was required by the Tanzania Commission for Universities. And I also uploaded my transcript because they want to see, to compare what you've done so far to their system. And after you get that certificate, then you can use that to apply for your internship. But before you apply for your internship or to choose your hospital, you need to take the pre-internship exams before you can be able to choose the hospital you want to work in.
So talking about the BC and the WASI, for those who can't relate, so basically they needed information about your high school, senior high school,
yes,
and junior high school.
Right.
Okay.
And your degree as well, your medical degree.
Okay.
Right.
So did you choose the hospital yourself or you applied broadly? How did you get the particular hospital you got?
Okay, so usually the portal for the hospital usually opens around October, November. So it opens in all the regions. So you know how things run quickly. You need to choose the best hospital as soon as possible, so that you can, you need to wake up early. There's a certain time they open the portal for the hospital. You need to wake up early so that you can select the hospital you want to go and work in. So for me, for instance, I worked in Muhimbili National Hospital, Mloganzila. They have 2 branches. We have Muhimbili National Hospital, Panga, and Muhimbili National Hospital, Mloganzila. These are the, it's a national hospital. It's the National Hospital of Tanzania. They are the best hospital in Tanzania. So that is why I chose to go and do my internship, and I've not regretted it. I really learned a lot from there.
Okay. So did the hospital help with your visa processing, or how did you get visa?
Yes, with visa processing, me having a Ghanaian passport, it's visa free, but visa free for a certain time, I think 3 months, I guess. So after 3 months or within the 3 months, you need to work your way out to get a work permit. So you can be able to apply the work permit after you start working in the hospital. You get letters and other documents. They can go to the immigration to apply for the work permit. That will give you a legal, stay or extension of your visa that was given on arrival. But I think with other nationalities like some Nigerians, they have to apply for some kind of work visa or student visa to enable them to start working in Tanzania.
You mentioned a pre-internship exams. How is that
Right.
conducted?
I think that exams is more of what you've done in medical school. Basically, they want to test you on all specialties, on how fit you are to work as an intern doctor in Tanzania. Is MCQs, objectives. Yeah.
Is it conducted online, or you have to be in Tanzania to do that?
Yeah, you have to be in Tanzania to do the exams. You have to be in Tanzania to take the certificate from the Tanzania Commission of Universities, because after uploading the document, they would want to see the originals before they'll give you the certificate.
Do they provide accommodation, and do they pay you?
Yeah, they don't provide accommodation. You have to search for your own accommodation. So what I did was, so initially I wanted to work in Zanzibar. Zanzibar is a country on its own, even though it's part of Tanzania. Tanzania is the mainland. That's what they say. So I wanted to work in Zanzibar, but I had to change my mind to move back to Dar es Salaam. So when I got to the hospital, I found they are very helpful. Tanzanians are very hospitable. They welcome you very well. So I got to the hospital. I got some, healthcare professionals to help me look for accommodation whilst I was staying in a hotel close to the hospital. So I got the accommodation within a couple of days. So you get people to help you get accommodation.
You've told us how you got into Tanzania, the application process, the accommodation, and whether they pay you or not. Is Tanzania an English-speaking country?
Tanzania is not an English-speaking country. They speak Swahili. Most people speak Swahili, and Swahili is, for me being a West African, we don't like to learn languages, but it's not a difficult language. You can be able to learn the Swahili whilst those basic Swahili to be able to see a patient. In my case, I had some nurses and some other healthcare professionals to help me translate whilst I'm seeing patients. But sometimes when I'm on call, it's me alone. So I did my best to see patients with the basic Swahili I know.
Did you know that before you went to Tanzania, that there's a language barrier?
Yes, I knew that. So once you're applying for your internship, they ask for proficiency, a certificate of proficiency of the Swahili language, which I didn't have because I'm a foreigner. I knew about it, that they spoke Swahili in that country.
Okay, so basically you needed translators in order to work as an intern, since you didn't know how to speak Swahili.
Not all the time, sometimes during the day, basically, because during the nights, most of the times people are busy doing other things. So you have to learn the Swahili to be able to survive. So you wouldn't get translators like I got. Yeah. Wow. You have to learn the Swahili, yeah.
Wow. So did you regret at a point for going to Tanzania for your internship due to the language barrier?
I didn't regret it at all because I learned a lot, all specialties within that 1 year. I didn't regret it at all. Consultants were very helpful. Registrars, were very helpful. They teach you a lot because they want you to go out to let the world know that you train in Tanzania. So you really learn a lot.
Okay, so tell us a typical day as an intern in Tanzania.
Okay, so depending on the specialty, but most specialties, a typical day you have to be at the hospital by 8:30. Um, you start your morning meeting. So usually, the people that stayed on call, that is the registrar and the intern or the house officer. The house officer usually admits patients and see patients. If you are not able to, there are certain things that you feel like you need help. That's when you call in the registrar. And most of the times, on call is only for interns, unless it's more complicated case. So during the morning meeting, the intern would have to present all the cases, all the admissions, all the patients they saw during their call. So usually the call starts from 4 p.m. till the following day, and even ends at 4 p.m. because you have to stay till your call ends. But you have to present your cases that you admitted during the night in the morning meeting. And that's where they have to bombard you with questions. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? What do you think was your diagnosis? Why did you think this is a provisional diagnosis? Because usually we work with provisional diagnosis since we need to run certain tests to confirm what we've seen. Yeah, so in morning meetings you learn a lot because they bombard your colleagues, and even you also be on that hot seat during that week. So you have to always be on point. During the night, you admit a patient, make sure that what you are doing is right. Make sure that you read about your diagnosis in and out because they throw you questions, the consultant throw you, but you don't want to look stupid. So you have to, be on your feet on that morning meeting. So after the morning meeting, we go on ward rounds. And ward rounds, they also bombard everyone with questions in the ward rounds. After the ward rounds, we share the tasks among ourselves, taking blood sample, investigation request, discharge. We help the on-call team on, admitting patients, reviewing. If it's theater, if it's general surgery, you go to the theater. There are people that will go to the theater. There are people that will stay on the ward. There are people that will go to the clinic. So we rotate it among ourselves during the day till you finish your shift around 4:35. Then you can go home. If you're on call, you continue your day.
Okay.
So that's how it is, yes.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. After your internship, if you had chosen to practice in Tanzania, what would have been the next step for you?
Okay, so after the internship, you need to take a post-internship exams. You have to take a post-internship exam so that you can get your provisional license. So you get the provisional license so that you can continue to practice as a medical officer. Yes, but it's quite difficult for the Tanzanians themselves to get a job in Tanzania. So usually we find most people working in private clinics or doing other things like teaching in universities and all that. Yeah.
So that means after the pre-internship exams, there is no official medical board exams to start practicing in Tanzania.
So the official board exams is the pre-internship exams.
Oh, okay.
So if you fail the pre-internship exams, you are not able to get your registration or your license to practice.
Okay.
All right.
So for someone who is thinking of coming to Tanzania to have such internship, what is your advice for that person?
Okay, my general advice is bear in mind that you are not going to be paid as a foreign doctor. You have to solely depend on your family or your sponsor or anyone that will sponsor you there. Being it your rent, your transport, your feeding, because even with the on-call allowance, you can do call today. The allowance will come in the next 3 months. It's not something you have to expect anytime soon. You have to make up your mind that you have to learn Swahili because there are certain points that some nurses don't want to translate for you because they don't want to get into trouble. Because sometimes translating can be very difficult. maybe a patient will say something, they don't know how to even translate it to the English that yeah. So you need to bear in mind that you have to be ready to learn the Swahili language. I know some couple of doctors that study Swahili for 3 months before starting their internship, just to be able to communicate with patients. And advantage is you learn a lot because they are very good people. To put it that way, consultants are very good. They study a lot. What I can brag about is most of my colleagues that do their housemanship or internship in other countries have not been able to do adenotonsillectomy. Yet I was able to do adenotonsillectomy. I know people do cesarean sections and the rest. Orthopedics, I did so many procedures in orthopedics as well. You are able to learn a lot. They give you the chance to learn a lot. You learn a lot. That is the advantage. The other advantage is you love it because during your off days you can visit the beach. You can go to some tourist sites. You can really enjoy yourself whilst you are doing your internship, even though most of the times you're in the hospital, but the free time you get, you can really enjoy yourself. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Dr. Mensah, for joining us today. And
Dr. Kwafu,